Hello and thank you for tuning in to Millennium Movies. Yes, this is Millennium Movies on camera. You're seeing this correctly. No need to make any adjustments. This is me. This is actually me. I used to do these types of videos on camera, but recently I just turned into more of the voiceover over video and picture. But for this video, I really felt compelled to be on camera, and we're going to be talking about this report from Deadline that states that Sony and Marvel Studios' relationship when it comes to the Spider-Man character, as of right now, it appears that Sony's going to just do their own thing. They don't feel like they need Kevin Feige to do Spider-Man movies correctly, and I want to try and look at this with, I want to be fair to Sony. They don't have a good history when it comes to their Spider-Man character in particular. They're a pretty successful studio when it comes to their own original pictures and their franchises. But when it comes to the Spider-Man character, regardless of what you think of the Amazing Spider-Man movies or the Tobey movies, the Sam Raimi original trilogy, I happen to think the first two are really good. Spider-Man 3 is not that good of a film. It's given us a lot of meme material on the internet, but that's not a good film. And The Amazing Spider-Man was a pretty good film. It was pretty good, but then once again, just like what Sony did with Spider-Man 3, they got too heavily involved with Mark Webb, and they wanted to bring in all these villains, and they wanted to do the Sinister Six earlier than the story. Earlier than the story really meant for. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a terrible film. Honestly, it's a god awful film. But so they have the bad history with the Spider-Man character, and now they think potentially, I'm gonna look at this from Marvel Studios' eyes right now, but then of course I'm gonna look at it from Sony's once I make my points here. Now it appears that with the success of Into the Spider-Verse and the financial success, not critical, but financial success of Venom, because that movie made a lot of money overseas, it feels like they've taken all the wrong lessons from their successes, and they believe now that they don't need Kevin Feige to understand the character of Spider-Man and make good, profitable Spider-Man movies. Well, what I think they fail to realize is that the reason Spider-Man Far From Home is the very first Spider-Man movie to cross $1 billion is not just because people were particularly excited about this Spider-Man because it's from a Sony film, but because he's been so enthralled now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe between his 3 films outside of his standalone movies, and of course his standalone movie was really good. That had a lot to do with Kevin Feige. That had a lot to do with Marvel Studios, and again, not considering the 3 movies that he's out of his solo movies: Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War. Sony and their producers have nothing to do with that. They've had nothing to do with the year-long built production and success that Marvel has done with their cinematic universe across 20 films now. Sony had nothing to do with that. So, Marvel did a lot of the heavy lifting, and they did a lot of the cleanup work with the Spider-Man character, and they really gave that fan base of Spider-Man a lot more to love now, because we got to see him with Tony Stark. We got to see that father figure mentorship. We got to see him hang out with Captain America. We got to see him interact with Doctor Strange. These things now, if Sony believes that they have the keys to the kingdom and they have the secrets to the secret sauce now all of a sudden, and they know how to successfully make Spider-Man movies on their own, you're not going to get that anymore. Now all we're going to get is Spider-Man. Oh, hey, we have Venom. Fans like Venom. You like Venom, right? Well, we have Tom Holland. You like Tom Holland. Well, what if we put them together? Don't you guys love to see that? Wouldn't you love to see that? Yes, we would love to see that, but not if it comes at the expense of losing all these other characters in the MCU, these great characters. Not to mention now the additions of the X-Men. The mutants are going to be coming into the MCU. The Fantastic Four. Spider-Man has a great and rich history with those characters in the first Marvel family and the X-Men, and now you just want to take that away. I don't know how to feel right now with Sony. I'm pretty disappointed as a fan, and the filmmaker side of me is very torn, because now I'm going to go into I'm going to look at it from Sony's perspectives and look at the cons of Disney. Well, from a filmmaking perspective, Disney just bought out 20th Century Fox, and my problem there, while I love that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are finally going to come home to Marvel Studios, and Kevin Feige's he's gonna he's gonna cradle those babies. He's gonna make them. He's gonna make them terrific. Those are gonna be fantastic films. I can't wait to see their iterations of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Don't get me wrong, but it comes at a heavy, heavy toll. It really does. Just yesterday, I put out a video covering the trailer for the new sci-fi horror flick titled Underwater, starring Kristen Stewart. And that film was created and it was produced under 20th Century Fox. But now, once these last of these 20th Century Fox that are filmed are completed and they're put out in theaters, is Disney going to keep the chain of 20th Century Fox? Are they going to keep that umbrella and use the 20th Century Fox name and brand to continue making original, not so family friendly and Disney-fied films? I don't know. Or are they just going to completely get rid of 20th Century Fox and we're gonna lose a heavy influx of original filmmaking? That sucks for the filmmaking universe in general, because we can't have Disney. People will want to say, "Well, why can't Disney just buy out Sony Pictures?" Well, first off, they could if they really wanted to, but I don't think they will. That's crazy. And plus, I don't think the government would probably even allow it at this point because of how much power Disney holds. Not only just over the film universe, but just in general, right? But that really wouldn't be good for film business, because you're taking away a lot more potential for original films. And I want to see horror movies. I want to see sci-fi movies. I want to see action thrillers. I want to see dramas. I want to see rom-coms, and you're just not going to get that with Disney. So that's where I'm conflicted, because Sony Pictures as a whole, I don't have a problem with. I like a lot of their movies. I like a lot of their franchises. But Sony Pictures, when it comes to this particular issue on Spider-Man, I just don't think they get him, man. I really don't think they understand him. I don't think they understand how to make comic book movies. I really don't. I mean, yes, a lot of people love Into the Spider-Verse. And hell, a lot of people like Venom. And it's financially successful. But that film, I don't know, I just don't think that Sony should take this risk, and I don't think they should roll the dice on their own. I think that they need Kevin Feige for the Spider-Man character in particular. It's just Spider-Man. Sony, this isn't... Kevin Feige and Disney and Marvel Studios aren't taking over your franchise. They're not worried about everything else that you're doing outside of Spider-Man. They're specifically focused on Spider-Man. And I don't know, for some reason they can't come to an agreement right now. Hopefully, with all the backlash that Sony and Disney are finding themselves in right now, more so Sony, but still, I want to be fair. Perhaps Disney is trying to lowball Sony, where they want to maybe take more money than Sony is willing to give up, and okay, maybe that is the case. I don't know. We don't know right now, but certainly as more details start to come out throughout the next coming weeks or potentially months. We'll see, man, and if you want me to cover it, and you want me to cover this Spider-Man news and this Marvel Studios, Sony, Disney dilemma, then please let me know in the comment section below, and let me know what you guys are thinking as well, because I was pretty heated about this topic. Lots of conflict within me right now between the filmmaking side of things and the Marvel fanboy side of things. So, but you want to be fair to both sides, because right now we don't have the full story. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below, and if you'd love to stay up to date on all the latest things going on in the movie world and TV world, particularly horror, because that's my favorite genre, well, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you along for the ride. But until next time, guys, this has been Millennium Movies, and I will see you all very soon.